Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Let us start. We'll chant one round of japa with Srila Prabhupada. Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram Hare Hare. जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवत्युत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिन्निति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा, कृष्णा कृष्णा हरे हरे, हरे राम, राम राम हरे हरे। ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय। श्रीमद् भगवद गीता एज इट इज की जय। श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। समवेत गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। Hare Krishna, dear devotees, welcome to today's Srimad Bhagavatam for all session. Let us recite Bhagavad Gita shloka. We are reciting from Srimad Bhagavad Gita as it is, chapter 13, text 14. If anyone needs to go first, please raise your hand. Aditi Lata Mataji and Arunita.
Hey Krishna Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Please accept my humble obeisances, Mataji. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Sarvata pani padam tat sarvatokshi siro mukham sarvata shruti malloke sarvam avritya tishtati. Everywhere are his hands and legs, his eyes, heads and faces, and he has eyes, ears everywhere. In this way, the Supersoul exists, pervading everything. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Arunita will read later.
Okay. So we'll go in order. Achyut Priya Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranams, Jai Shri Prabhupada, Jai Devi Maja, glories to the Summit of Peace.
Dandavat Pranam Mataji. Jai Shri Prabhupada.
सर्वदा पाणिपादं तात सर्वतो शिरोमुखं सर्वदा श्रुतिमल्लोके सर्वं सर्वम् आवृत्य तिष्ठति. Translation and purport given by Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Everywhere are his arms and legs, his eyes, heads and faces, and he has ears everywhere. In this way, the Super Soul exists, pervading everything. Thank you, Matan. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Isha.
सर्वतः पाणिपादं तत् सर्वतोक्षिशिरोमुखं सर्वतः श्रुतिमल्लोके सर्वमावृत्य तिष्ठति. Everywhere are his hands and legs, his eyes, heads, and faces, and he has ears everywhere. In this way, the super soul exists, pervading everything.
Krishna Shish.
सर्वतः पाणिपादं तत् सर्वतोक्षिशिरोमुखं सर्वतः श्रुतिमल्लोके सर्वमावृत्य तिष्ठति. Everywhere are his hands and legs, his eyes, heads, and faces, and he has ears everywhere. In this way, the super soul exists, pervading everything.
Madhava.
सर्वतः पाणिपादं तत् सर्वतोक्षिशिरोमुखं सर्वतः श्रुतिमल्लोके सर्वमावृत्य तिष्ठति. Everywhere are his hands and legs, his eyes, heads, and faces, and he has ears everywhere. In this way, the super soul exists, pervading everything.
Rasa Priya.
सर्वतः पाणिपादं तत् सर्वतोक्षिशिरोमुखं सर्वतः श्रुतिमल्लोके सर्वमावृत्य तिष्ठति. Everywhere are his hands and legs, his eyes, heads, and faces, and he has ears everywhere. In this way, the super soul exists, pervading everything.
Narsimha Leela Chaitanya Prabhu. Suraj Purti. Swarnangi Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranams, all Shri Srila Prabhupada.
Dandavat Pranam Mataji. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
सर्वतः पाणिपदं तत् सर्वतोक्षिशिरोमुखं सर्वतः श्रुतिमल्लोके सर्वम् आवृत्य तिष्ठति. Translation: Everywhere all his hands and legs, his eyes, heads, and faces, and he has ears everywhere. In this way, the super soul exists, pervading everything. Mataji, others will recite at the end.
Okay.
Thank you.
Priyanka Haripriya Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glory to Prabhupada.
Please accept my obeisances, Mataji. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
सर्वतः पाणिपादं तत् सर्वतो श्रीशिरोमुखम्. Yeah. सर्वतः श्रुतिमल्लोके सर्वम् आवृत्य तिष्ठति. Everywhere are his hands and legs, his eyes, heads, and faces, and he has ears everywhere. In this way, the super soul exists, pervading everything.
Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you.
Okay. Anyone else? You can recite now. Okay, I'll recite Bhagavad Gita chapter 13, text 14. Sarvataha panipadam tad sarvatosti sarvatokshi shiromukham sarvataha shruti malloke sarvam avritya tishtati. Everywhere are his hands and legs, his eyes, heads, and faces. He has his ears everywhere. In this way, the super soul exists, pervading everything. Anyone else? Okay, so we'll begin Srimad Bhagavatam. So we're reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 9, Chapter 21, the descendants of Maharaj Bharat, and in that we came to Rantidev, right? King Rantidev. So this chapter, chapter 21, is entitled The Dynasty of Bharat. Okay. So about Rantidev, yesterday one question was asked. If he is a king, then why is he in poverty? Why is he starving? Why his family is starving? So I said he was performing austerities by fasting. I have a vague memory of reading like that or hearing like that. But today I heard a lecture by His Holiness Radha Govind Maharaj, and Maharaj said that he was such a dani, right? Such a charitable person that he gave everything he had. He didn't keep anything for himself. So even though he was a king and he had his kingdom and everything, he would give everything in charity. So finally, actually, it came to a state where he didn't have anything for himself because he gave. So he's known for he's famous for his charity. So he actually didn't have anything. It's not like he was observing fast. He was fasting because he didn't have anything. Of course, people would bring him some food, and whatever they brought, as soon as someone would ask, he would just give it away. So nothing would remain with him. So, like this, once upon a time, he didn't have anything for 48 days. Not only him, but his wife and his son also. And they were literally trembling out of hunger. His immediate family members, his child, trembling out of hunger and thirst. But even in that condition, he never wavered from his determination to give charity, to serve. And again, why was he serving and giving charity? Because he was seeing every living entity in relation to the Supreme Lord. He was seeing every living entity as a part and parcel of the Supreme Lord. In other words, everything and everyone was reminding him of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So he would give everything he had to the Supreme Lord through, via the person that he's seeing. So, like that, we saw once after fasting for 48 days, finally he got something. So, Maharaj even gave the details. He got some halwa made of atta, and also he got some kheer, and of course, water. Somebody brought it. So, then he, so we also read yesterday. So, before he could honor, one Brahmana came. So, he divided it, right? He gave a portion of that to the Brahmana to the satisfaction of the Brahmana. Then he divided the rest amongst his family members. And then another person came. This time we saw a Shudra came. Again, the king gave his share. So, more detail here. Maharaj explains, His Holiness Radha Maharaj explains that when he was going to give away his share, his family, his wife, and child, they were saying, "No, father, we will give our share." They were also trembling in hunger and thirst. But they said, "You don't give, we will give our share to the guest." So, this is the glory of Rantidev. Let's continue reading. So, I'll quickly read what we read
Mataji,
yesterday.
this is like Rishabdev's also sin. When we read, remember, he was giving in charity everything, and the Brahmanas again gave him back.
Rishabdev or Prithu Maharaj? Prithu Maharaj.
Oh, probably Prithvi Maharaj. Sorry. Yes. So, but in that case, they immediately gave back.
Yeah,
Brahmanas 48 years. Brahmanas didn't give
yeah,
back.
yeah. Prithu Maharaj, he didn't take anything from the Brahmanas because everything belonged to the Brahmanas. So he wouldn't take anything from the Brahmanas. Rather, he would give everything to them. like while collecting taxes or anything, because Prithu Maharaj says that whatever there is, it actually belongs to the Brahmanas. Whatever there is in this world, all property, it is the property of the Brahmanas. The Brahmanas going and begging from others is just like, it's actually like them going and taking their own property. And because they are Brahmanas, they only take little. Actually, everything is theirs, but Brahmana's nature is they're simple, right? They're simple living. So they only take a little bit. But in reality, everything belongs to them. But they are not greedy, so they don't take everything. Even though it's all theirs, they don't take everything. They only take a little bit, like that it is said.
So, no, there was a yagya, no? So, whose was there? Whose pastime was that?
Prithu Maharaj performs yagya, yes.
Oh, in that only he gives in charity to the Brahmanas everything, right?
Yeah, I'm not able to recollect the details of that pastime now. Maybe,
Yes.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, I remember that he does not rule the Brahmanas. He rules everyone else, but he doesn't rule the Brahmanas, because actually everything belongs to the Brahmanas only. That point is said there.
Okay, Mataji, we need to go back and
Yeah,
again.
we have to refer. Yes, it's been a while since we read that. Okay, so let's continue now. I'll just read. Okay, I'll just read the first one also. Sukadev Goswami said, because Bharadwaj, so Bharadwaj is the son of Maharaj Bharat. Bharadwaj was delivered by the Marut demigods. He was known as Vitatha. The son of Vitatha was Manyu, and from Manyu came 5 sons: Brihat Kshatra, Jaya, Mahavirya, Nara, and Garga. Of these 5, the one known as Nara had a son named Sankriti. O Maharaj Parikshit, descendant of Pandu, Sankriti had 2 sons named Guru and Rantidev. Rantidev is famous in both this world and the next, for he is glorified not only in human society but also in the society of the demigods. Okay, then next is 3 to 5. Rantidev never endeavored to earn anything. He would enjoy whatever he got by the arrangement of providence. But when guests came, he would give them everything. So, this is the point that we should remember. When guests came to him, he would give them everything he had. So generally, what do we do in this world? We earn, isn't it? We work hard to earn and accumulate, save, isn't it? He did not do anything to earn. Anything which came by providence automatically he accepted. Same with food also. He didn't make any endeavor to go and collect and feed. No. Anything which came by providence he accepted. But whatever he had by providence, whatever he got, as soon as a guest came, and also we will see further, we read it yesterday. The guest, it didn't matter. He did not discriminate. Oh, this is a Brahmana guest, this is a Shudra guest, or this is a dog or a Chandala. No. He, any guest who came, he would see that guest, he would see the Supreme Lord in everyone. So as soon as a guest came, he would give them everything he had. So therefore, he always had nothing, because he would give away whatever he had to their full satisfaction. So here, Rantidev never endeavored to earn anything. He would enjoy whatever he got by the arrangement of providence. But when guests came, he would give them everything. Thus, he underwent considerable suffering along with the members of his family. Indeed, he and his family members shivered for want of food and water. So it was actually want. They didn't have water or food. So they would be trembling out of hunger and thirst. Yet Rantidev always remained sober. Once, after fasting for 48 days, right? Not eating anything for 48 days or drinking water for 48 days. You may wonder how someone would live for 48 days without eating or drinking. So again, when someone is spiritually advanced, uh, even yogis, what to speak of devotees, even yogis, they can go on for months together without eating or drinking. We have example of Dhruva Maharaj. Yes, he didn't even breathe, what to speak of eating or drinking. He controlled his breath also. So it is possible. Then what to speak of devotees, right? So he was seeing the Supreme Lord in everything. So he fasted for 48 days and he still lived, no water even. Nirjala Ekadasi for 48 days straight. And you can imagine someone, if after fasting, when we do a Nirjala Ekadasi or Janmashtami fasting, and when you get prasadam at the end, how do you feel?
We cannot even 48 days is
Yeah,
really.
but after that fast, even for one day, if you fasted, when you get prasadam, how do you feel? Finally, I can drink some water. Finally, the body is all parched, right? The throat is parched. You need some water to drink. And when you have that, and if somebody takes that away, or if somebody asks you, will you be willing to give it? Or you want to first drink yourself? This is Rantidev, right? So these are all real people. These are the heroes. So after fasting for 48 days, not even drinking water, and also seeing your child suffering like this. One thing is when we undergo it ourselves, but if you see your wife or your child, but still he remains sober. That's why he's glorified not just on this earth, but even in the heavenly planets. So indeed, he and his family members shivered for want of food and water, yet Rantidev always remained sober. Once after fasting for 48 days, in the morning, Rantidev received some water and some foodstuffs made with milk and ghee. So foodstuff made with milk is the kheer, and with ghee is the halwa, atta halwa. But when he and his family were just about to eat, and Maharaj says it so nicely, like they already said Sharira Vidyajal prayers, and they are, the prasadam is on the plate. They said the mantras, and he's just about to eat, just at that moment. Hmm. So when he and his family were about to eat, when a Brahmana guest arrives, so because Rantidev perceived the presence of the Supreme Godhead everywhere and in every living entity, he received the guest with faith and respect and gave him a share of the food. The Brahmana guest ate his share and then went away. Thereafter, having divided the remaining food with his relatives, Rantidev was just about to eat his own share when a Shudra guest arrived. Seeing the Shudra in relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That means what? This Shudra is just an external body. But who is this? He's actually a part and parcel of the Supreme Lord. And what is the position of the living entity? All living entities' natural position is they are all servants of the Supreme Lord. So that's how he saw. He didn't see him as a Shudra. He's seeing him as a servant of the Supreme Lord, an associate of the Supreme Lord. So when the Shudra, thereafter having divided, seeing the Shudra in relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, King Rantidev gave him also a share of the food. So now text 8 is Sonia Mataji. Yate Shudre tamanyogad atithihi shvabhir avritaha rajanme diyatamannam saganaya bubhukshate.
Hare Krishna Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances for glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Please accept my humble obeisances, Mataji. Jai Srila Prabhupada.
When the Sudra went away, another guest arrived, surrounded by dogs, and said, O king, I and my company of dogs are very hungry. Please give us something to eat.
So the Brahmana came and ate. Then that means now the portion has become smaller, isn't it? So first, if they had like one pot, he gave a portion of that to the Brahmana. So now what each person would get has reduced further. Now King Rantidev had his portion and his family members had their portions, and then the Shudra came. So he gave his portion to the Shudra. Now a man surrounded by dogs, that means a Chandala, right, who keeps dogs. A man surrounded by dogs came and he says, "My dogs are hungry, please give us something to eat." Another guest arrived surrounded by dogs and said, "O king, not just my dogs, myself and my company of dogs, right? All my dogs and myself, we are very hungry. Please give us something to eat." So next is Lokesh. Sa adrityavashishtam yad bahumana puraskritam taccha dattva namaschakre swabhyah swapataye vibhuhu.
With great respect, King Rantideva offered the balance of the food to the dogs and the master of the dogs, who had come as guests. The king offered them all respects and obeisances.
So now he gave, when the dogs and that person, Chandala, came asking for food, King Rantidev offered the balance of the food. So if we keep reading, we'll find more details, okay? But he gave the remaining food, whatever food was there, he gave. What I'm not sure here is he gave to the Shudra. So did he give all of his share to the Shudra and now he's giving his family members share? Or he gave a portion of his share to the Shudra and now he's giving whatever is left from his share to the dogs and the person. So we'll find out. So with great respect, King Rantidev offered the balance of the food to the dogs and the master of the dogs who had come as guests. The king offered them all respects and obeisances. Not just that he gave, and then he offered them respects and obeisances. To the dogs also, it said to all of them. He offered obeisances to the dogs. Paniyamatram uchesham tacchaika paritarpanam pasyatah pulkasobhyagad apodehya shubhaya me. So is Shamal Gopika Mataji there?
No, Mataji.
Okay, next Usha Mataji and Medha.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranams, all grace to Srila Prabhupada, all grace to the assembled devotees.
Dandavat Pranam Mataji. Yes, Shri Prabhupada.
Thereafter, only the drinking water remained, and there was only enough to satisfy one person. But when the king was just about to drink it, a Chandala appeared and said, "O king, although I am low-born, kindly give me some drinking water."
Yes. So we don't hear about the family members here, but we'll find out. Eventually, that's also said somewhere. I remember. I'm just not able to recollect right now. But so first a Brahmana came, he gave a share of that. Then the remaining he divided amongst himself and his family members. Then a Shudra came and he gave his share. And then another third person comes with a bunch of dogs. So he'll give whatever food is remaining to that person and his dogs. So now there's no more food remaining. Only some water was remaining. And that water also was just sufficient for one person to drink, maybe like a glass of water. And Maharaj Rantidev was about to drink that water. He was just about to drink, and then a Chandala appears. And he's asking for water. He's saying, "I'm so thirsty. Even though I'm low born, please satisfy my thirst. Give me some drinking water." Tasyatam karunam vacham nishamya vipulashramaam kripaya bhrisha santapta Idam ahamritam vachaha. Medha is there, Mataji.
Yes, Mataji.
Can you translation?
Yeah. Aggrieved at hearing the pitiable words of the poor fatigued Chandala, Maharaj Rantidev spoke the following nectarian words. Purport as well.
Yes.
Maharaj Rantidev's words were like amrita or nectar, and therefore, aside from rendering bodily service to an aggrieved person, by his words alone, the king could save the life of anyone who might hear him.
Wow. So what happened when this Chandala asked for water? Maharaj felt sorry for the Chandala, right? Oh, this person is so thirsty. He's feeling sorry for that person. He's not thinking about himself. Oh, I have fasted for 48 days. I gave away all my food. I just have this little bit of water. I mean, if he didn't drink that water, he might just die, isn't it? Fasting for such a long time, not even drinking water. That would have been, you know, his hope, only hope of surviving. But when he saw a Chandala asking for water, and that's why Chandala, right? He's a low-born person. But seeing that he's so tired, so exhausted, and he's so thirsty, the king is feeling sorry for him. Oh, poor man, how much he's suffering out of thirst. Also, we can see because he himself is thirsty, he understands the pain of that thirst, isn't it? And he's able to relate to the suffering of this person. And he's feeling sorry for him. He's not thinking about himself. He's feeling sorry for the person who's asking him for water. So, and he became aggrieved. He became aggrieved seeing the pain of that person. Aggrieved at hearing the pitiable words of the poor fatigued Chandala, Maharaj Rantidev spoke the following nectarian words. So Srila Prabhupada is saying that not only was he physically offering whatever he could to the other person, that means giving food and water, but also by his words. The words were so much filled with nectar, just his words could save someone's life. Water could save, he gave what he had, physical items, whatever he had, but also his words were life giving, like nectar. Maharaj Rantidev's words were like Amrita. Amrita means death. Amrita means no death. So his words were like Amrita. So by his words alone, the king could save a person's life. Anyone who hears his words, they would be saved. Mataji, Aditi Lata Mataji, you're asking something.
Like the guests, if the guests arrive at home, we have to offer food and water. If we don't have that, at least we are supposed to give sweet words like that.
Very nice. Yes, Mataji. Nice connection. Yes. So he's giving everything. Yeah. I mean, we are supposed to give everything. Sweet words are always available. We should be able to give at least that much. And usually a sitting place also, right? Just give a mat or something to sit down, or even just on the floor, just let them sit down. That is also usually available. And then water, generally people have water, that also can be given. And if you have some food, you give food. But if you don't have food, at least water and sitting place and sweet words. If you don't even have water, then at least give a sitting place and sweet words. If you don't even have like Bhishma Dev, right? Everyone came to see him. He couldn't give them a sitting place or water or food, but he was speaking to them and he was welcoming them, hosting them by his sweet words. So yes, thank you for that. So
Mataji, I also remember the person who was giving in charity everything, and the Brahmanas gave back is Lord Rama. After coming back to Ayodhya, remember we read, then he was doing after the Sita incident, then he was doing the charities and all,
yeah,
Ashwamedha Yagya and all, and
yeah.
then he used to give different portions of his kingdom to the Brahmanas, and the Brahmanas used to immediately return
Give
it.
it back. Correct. Yes, Mataji. Now I remember. Yes. So when he was performing these yagyas, he would give everything, whatever he had, and they would just give it back. Yes. Thank you. Even Lord Parashuram, actually. Lord Parashuram, because when he killed all these kings, that means he became the owner of all the kingdoms, isn't it? When you defeat the enemy, then his kingdom becomes yours. And he killed all the Kshatriyas on the whole planet. So practically the whole planet became his. What did he do? He gave it all to the Brahmanas. He gave everything to the Brahmanas because he killed the Kshatriyas. Kshatriyas were not fit. So he gave it all to the Brahmanas. Parashuram.
The only thing is Brahmanas didn't return it back. For Lord Ramchandra, they immediately returned it back to him.
Yes, yeah. I mean, because he didn't have any use, because he was not a king, right? So he gave everything to them and he went to Mahendra Parvat.
Yes.
Parashuram, Lord Parashuram.
Yes.
Yeah, nice. Okay, so continuation. Next verse. Medha read. So next, Narsimha Leela Chaitanya Prabhu and family. न कामयेऽहं गतिमीश्वरात् पराम् अष्टर्धियुक्ताम पुनर्भवं वा आर्तिं प्रपद्येऽखिलदेहभाजाम् अन्तः स्थितो येन भवन्त्यदुःखाः. This is the prayer by Rantidev. When that Chandala asked for water, these are the nectarian words spoken by Rantidev. Let's see what he's saying. Translation. So Suraj Purti Mataji Prabhuji, Suvarnangi Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
I do not pray to the Supreme Personality of Godhead for the 8 perfections of mystic yoga, nor for salvation from repeated birth and death. I want only to stay among all the living entities and suffer all distress on their behalf, so that they may be freed from suffering. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna. I mean, it is very difficult for us to even imagine that somebody can pray like this. Artificially, sometimes we may say such things, but to actually feel like this and to genuinely pray to the Supreme Lord, right? When you pray to the Supreme Lord, He can actually fulfill your desires. He might just fulfill your desires. So how many of us would be able to pray like this? What is Rantidev saying? He's praying, I do not pray to the Supreme Personality of Godhead for the 8 perfections of mystic yoga. So this is what the yogis, that means they get these perfections, mystic perfections, anima, lagima, prapti, like that. So I'm not going to pray to the Supreme Lord for these mystic perfections, nor for salvation from repeated birth and death. Right? So if a yogi, Ashtanga yogi, somehow or other, if he is able to somehow or other, if he manages not to fall for these results, siddhis that come by performing Ashtanga yoga, because many yogis will fall there only. As soon as you get these siddhis, material siddhis, right? Then they're satisfied with that, and then they go with that. But a real yogi, his goal is the Supreme Lord, right? Supreme Lord means Paramatma. Generally, those who follow Ashtanga yoga, generally their goal is Paramatma, either Kshirodakashayi Vishnu or Garbhodakashayi Vishnu. So then what will happen to him? That means as he's practicing this Ashtanga yoga, these siddhis will be available to him. He will not get distracted by that. He'll be focused on his destination, which is going to Paramatma. So finally he will go. That means he'll become he'll get liberation, he'll get mukti, free from, he'll transcend the three modes, and he will become free from the pangs of a birth, death, old age, disease, and also adhyatmika, adidevika, adibhautika miseries. He'll become free from all this. That's what Ashtanga Yogi gets, a final result. But here Rantidev is praying, I don't want even salvation from repeated birth and death. I don't want the siddhis, which is material. I don't even want liberation. I want only to stay. And then what do you want? Is he saying, I want love of Godhead also? No, he's saying, I want only to stay among all the living entities and suffer all distresses on their behalf. Why does one suffer distresses? Because of our own past karma, as a reaction to our karma, we get suffering. Everyone, whatever everyone is suffering is the reaction to his or her own past karma. Rantidev is praying, I want to suffer for their past karma. Let them become free. I cannot see them suffering. Generally, what is the tendency? If someone does something bad and if he suffers, it's good. He deserves to suffer. He did this bad thing and that bad thing. So now he's getting punishment. Very good. Isn't it? This is justice. But Rantidev is saying, no, they're suffering. And he's not saying, oh, please release them from this suffering. You just forgive them. No. That account has to be settled. They have done something bad, that means that suffering has to come, that cycle has to be completed, right? Action has a reaction. So they've done something bad, then the reaction should come. Who will take the reaction? He's not simply praying, my Lord, please. I mean, just think about it. Like when we pray on behalf of someone, let's say somebody is suffering, somebody is sick, and they say, please pray for me. Then you go to the Lord and you say, my Lord, please release this person from that suffering. Are you actually saying that whatever suffering that person is going through, let me suffer for that, but let him become free? Are we saying that? No, right? But this is Rantidev's prayer. His only prayer is whatever people are suffering, and not just one person, not just someone who is dear to me. Oh, my child is very dear to me. So I cannot bear to see the suffering of my child. I will suffer the pains that my child is supposed to suffer. Let my child become free. No, every living entity in the entire world, whatever they are suffering, I will accept. Let me stay here and let me suffer on behalf of all these people, and let them become released from this suffering. Let them be liberated. That is his prayer. Why? Because he is able to feel the pain of suffering. The other person is thirsty and is seeing how much pain this person is suffering because of thirst. I'll go thirsty. I'll suffer on his behalf. Let him become free from this pain. Like this, my desire is I will stay here in this world, eternally, material world, and I will suffer the reactions of all the living entities and let them all become free. You know, this is a very high consciousness, exactly like Vasudev Datta Mataji. Srila Prabhupada quotes that also in the purport. Yes. Vasudev Datta and Chaitanya Leela prays the same way. So, this type of consciousness, just a couple of days ago, His Holiness Devamrita Maharaj gave Bhagavatam class in Mayapur. So, you can see that lecture if you are interested. mayapurtv.com 2 days ago. Not today, not yesterday, but the day before that. In that, Maharaj was, I wouldn't be able to present it exactly, but I will try. We hear about separation, love in separation, isn't it? Love in separation means, why does that means separation is pain, isn't it? Separation from the Lord for a devotee. When the devotee is united with the Lord, it is great pleasure. But when the devotee is separated from the Lord, it is pain. Then why do devotees ask for pain? Why do devotees ask for separation or pain? You may say, and actually our acharyas explain, or it appears like the acharya is explaining, Srila Jiva Goswami is explaining initially that because when there is separation, the intensity of love increases, and then when there is union, oh, that pleasure is very high compared to the union where there is no separation. You're all with me? You're understanding, right? When there is no separation at all, you're always together, then that intensity is not as much. Intensity of love is not as much. But when there is some separation, and after separation, when there is union, then that intensity is more. To increase the intensity of love, devotees are asking for separation. But this is not really the case. In reality, in that pain of separation itself is pleasure. The pain of separation is itself the highest pleasure, not just pleasure, it is the highest pleasure. This only those devotees, that is why when devotees take on sufferings on behalf of Krishna, when they take sufferings on behalf of Krishna, they get the highest experience of ecstasy when they are actually suffering on any level, physically, emotionally, or in any way. But that suffering, in that suffering itself, is the highest ecstasy, because it is accepted for the pleasure of the Lord, for the sake of the Lord. Now you think about Srila Prabhupada taking on so many hardships. Why? Because this service is, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, anyone who preaches this message is very dear to me. There's no one more dear to me than him. So understanding that this is what will please the Lord, they take all types of risks and they actually suffer. But that suffering is the highest, that suffering itself is the highest ecstasy. Who realizes this? Only the highest, topmost devotees realize this. So, another point here is, we may see that Rantidev is praying, that he's not saying that I want love of Godhead, I want to go back to Godhead, I want to serve Krishna. Is that what he's saying? No, he's saying I want to stay in this material world, like Prahlad Maharaj or Vasudev Datta. I want to stay in this material world. He's not even saying I want to enlighten them, I want to stay here and preach to them. No, he's saying I want to suffer all their reactions. Let them be happy. This is compassion. Our devotee, again, this compassion is the mature form of love of Godhead. When love of Krishna becomes mature, right? Mature means you have a pot, right? Let's say you fill that pot with love of Krishna. When that pot is overflowing, that means that pot is not able to contain. There is so much love that it is overflowing. So the pot is like the heart of the devotee, right? When there is overflowing love, to so much love for Krishna, that heart becomes liquefied and it starts flowing. right? That love of God starts flowing towards all the suffering souls, all the conditioned souls. Because as soon as they see the suffering, such devotees who have so much love, like overflowing love of God, Godhead, of Krishna, when they see the pain of people in this world, their heart undergoes transformation immediately, right? Chitta vikara, it undergoes transformation and it starts flowing towards these people's suffering. They cannot remain peaceful with their own bhajan, with their own chanting, with their own devotional service to Krishna. They cannot. For one moment also, they cannot be peaceful. As long as they see even one person suffering, they cannot stay peacefully. They have to do something to help that person. So that is why this compassion is actually an indication of that devotee's love for the Supreme Lord. So when Rantidev is praying, let me stay here and suffer. Let me just remain here and keep suffering. Whatever these people are meant to suffer, let me suffer all that. This is a Mahabhagavat devotee. A Mahabhagavat devotee. Only he can pray like that. Of course, there are many other points that are said by, of course, Maharaj, His Holiness Devamrit Maharaj didn't talk about Rantidev. I'm just connecting. But what Maharaj talked about was that pain part, right? Pain itself is pleasure. That's what Maharaj was saying. And then he said, so therefore we see devotees are praying. They're praying for this separation. But then interestingly, he said that gopis, topmost devotees, they never pray for separation. You may say, how is that? They don't pray for separation, and then in that separation, they will be experiencing the highest pleasure. No, they never pray. Why? Because they're always in separation. Even when they are with Krishna, they are in separation. Because they're always feeling, when they're in front of Krishna, they're thinking Krishna may leave, Krishna may go away. So they're always in anxiety. So they're always experiencing the highest ecstasy, because they're always experiencing separation. So only the gopis, Braja gopis, are an exception who don't pray for separation, because they're always in separation and they are the topmost devotees. But otherwise, we see devotees asking for pain. Kunti Maharani, isn't it? Give me pain. These are all really exalted devotees. Sometimes even devotees amongst us, we see, they say that, I want to suffer. They say that. And they say, you please pray to Krishna that I should suffer. Let me be rejected by people. Let me be insulted. Let me be misunderstood. And let Krishna use me left and right. And I feel like, how can someone pray like that? Because that actually, that is actually the highest. Of course, we cannot imitate. We shouldn't imitate. If we are not at that level, then we shouldn't pray like that, right? But we should always keep, when we hear about such devotees, we should keep them on our heads, right? With great uh, respect, and we should worship such devotees, lotus feet. Saujanya Mataji.
Mataji, I'm thinking, I mean, I don't know the background, maybe it will come like why he's fasting, all that. But being a king, in fact, you have to rule the kingdom in such a way that nobody suffers and you provide them everything, rather than just, I don't know, maybe there is some story why he's doing that, we don't know.
I think you joined a little late today. At the beginning of the class
Oh.
itself, I explained it. So I won't tell the whole thing, but I'll just give you one or two lines. So it's not that he was actually going through voluntarily, he was doing some tapasya or anything. Rather, he is so charitable. First of all, this is there in the verse itself. First of all, he didn't endeavor to earn anything. But of course, then if he's a king, then he would have gotten it as inheritance. So he had the kingdom. But whatever he had, he would give it away in charity. So finally, it so happened he didn't have anything left. He gave everything away. That was his nature. That was his nature, means that was his, devotion. So he didn't keep anything for himself. So much so that he didn't even have food or water. For days together, weeks together, he had no food or water. Not just him, but even his family members. Why he didn't have? Even if somebody brought, as soon as a guest came, he would give everything to them. That's how.
But as a king, Kshatriya, you have to protect. You can't just become like a Brahmin and give away as charity, right, Mataji? They have a duty in a specific way, like any other kings. I don't know why I got this thought. Sorry, Mataji.
Yes. No. It's a valid question. So again, duties. If you remember that picture, duties are there. Duty means karma. Kshatriya dharma, Brahmana dharma, Vaishya dharma, Shudra dharma. This dharma or duty means it's karma. Who is entitled? Actually, you only asked me this question some time ago. But who is entitled to do karma? One who is not yet qualified to do bhakti, he has to do karma. But if one has already entered into pure devotional service, he has no obligation to do karma. He need not do karma. And if he didn't do any karma, he does not get any reaction. There's no fault on his part if he didn't do his dharma and karma. Now, what is Rantidev's qualification? He is seeing the Supreme Lord in everyone and everything. He's already in pure devotional service. And not just pure devotional service, is a Mahabhagavad devotee that is praying to Krishna, let me suffer the sufferings of all others. So for him, there is no Kshatriya dharma. Yes, sometimes even those who are pure devotees, they still adhere to Kshatriya dharma to set an example to others. But it's not mandatory that someone who's a pure devotee, he has to set example and he has to do duties. It's not required. It's not required. So here he's setting another example, right? He's actually a Mahabhagavad devotee here. He's giving everything he had, like that.
In a different way, actually.
And he's actually pure devotional service. He's doing pure devotional service here. He's offering everything to the Lord. Not keeping anything for oneself. He's offering everything to the Lord.
No, that quality is good, but I get the point, Mataji. It's just I was thinking, first of all, he's a king. I mean, why he is doing all this? I don't know. That's fine.
You're thinking from the elementary school standard, right? So from that standard, from elementary school standard, you will say that how can you subtract a bigger number from a smaller number? Because my knowledge is if I have 4 apples, I have only 4 apples. How I can take 8 apples out of 4 apples? It's not possible. But when you go to higher grades, of course you can take 8 from 4. You get -4. But that concept, an elementary school, like first grade, second grade, he won't understand that. But when you go to higher grades, you understand it is possible, right? You can actually subtract. You can subtract 8 from 4, like that. An advanced stage of someone who's in pure devotional service, an advanced stage of devotional service, what he can do and what are his obligations cannot be understood by one who is still not yet in pure devotional service, who still has to do karma. For someone who is eligibility is to do karma, he has to do, because if he doesn't do that dharma of a kshatriya, then he gets sin. He gets sin. He cannot not do it. But somebody who's on a higher level, he's not obliged to do anything. He's not obliged to do any dharma or karma.
Got it, Mataji. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So we did the translation Okay, I'll just read that prayer again. I do not pray to the Supreme Personality of Godhead for the 8 perfections of mystic yoga, nor for salvation from repeated birth and death, right? No mystic siddhis, no liberation. Then what do you want? I want only to stay among all the living entities and suffer all distresses on their behalf, so that they may be freed from suffering. So this is actually a sign of Uttamadhikari Bhakta, who's who's who cannot tolerate to see the pain of others, because he sees everyone's pain in relation to himself, in relation to, if I were to suffer that pain, how much difficult it will be for me. So he's actually able to feel, he's able to feel the pain of others, and therefore he cannot tolerate. This is Uttamadhikari. He is a very advanced, topmost Mahabhagavad devotee. So purport. Spurti read, right? Suhrud, you're going to read? Or Mataji Prabhuji?
Yes, Mataji. Vasudeva Datta made a similar statement to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, requesting the Lord to liberate all living entities in his presence. Vasudeva Datta submitted that if they were unfit to be liberated, he himself would take all the sinful reactions and suffer personally, so that the Lord might deliver them. A Vaishnava is therefore described as being Paradukka Dukki, very much aggrieved by the sufferings of others. As such, a Vaishnava engages in activities for the real welfare of human society.
Yes, is the actual welfare worker, social worker, a Vaishnava. He engages in activities for the real welfare of human society. Not just give some food and some clothes. No, he gives them the ultimate benefit, a Vaishnava. So Vasudev Datta is actually Prahlad Maharaj in Chaitanya Leela. So Prahlad Maharaj also prays in a similar way. He says, I want to stay in the cities and I want to deliver, enlighten all these people who are simply, foolishly thinking that they will enjoy life by sense gratification. They're mudas, right? I want to stay back here and I want to help all of them. That's Prahlad Maharaj's prayer. I don't want to go back to Godhead until there is even one person in this world who's thinking that sense gratification will make him happy. Even if there's one person, I am not interested in going back. I want to send everyone else back to Godhead. I want to stay here and I want to preach. And where do you want to stay? I don't want to stay in the forest and do my meditation or in my home. I want to stay in the cities where all these people in the modes of passion and ignorance live, chasing after material opulences and sense gratification. I want to stay. That is Prahlad Maharaj's prayer. Similarly, same Prahlad Maharaj in Chaitanya Leela comes as Vasudev Datta. His prayer is, my Lord, you please liberate all the people in this world. I cannot see their suffering. And if you say that no, they don't have the qualification, they still have to suffer, I will suffer on their behalf. I will suffer, but please deliver them. And of course, when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu heard that, he had tears in his eyes and he said, only you can pray like this because you are Prahlad Maharaj, like that. And then he said, all of them are delivered. Simply by your desire, all of them are delivered. But it doesn't mean that this world will become empty. Again, it will be filled by another batch. They're ready, waiting. So the people that you said, they're all delivered. Of course, that doesn't mean that now Vasudev Dutt will have to stay back. The Lord would never do that to his devotees.
We are the next batch, Mataji.
We are the next batch, yeah. We filled up. After Vasudev Datta delivered everyone, then we all came here. But, they leave the boat behind. That's the beauty of acharyas. They find the boat, or they make the boat, right? Or they discover the boat sitting in which one can cross this material existence, but they don't need to take the boat. They leave the boat behind and they cross. How they cross? That's the beauty, transcendental. You don't actually need to physically take the boat. And then they leave the boat behind for all of us. So even though we are the next batch, the path is chalked out for us. If we simply take shelter of that boat, we can also cross, and many, many generations after us can also cross taking that same boat, because the boat is left behind in this material world for us. So that's our good fortune. Okay, so we finished this purport. We will stop here. So we saw Rantidev's prayer. Before giving that water, when that person asked for water, this is the prayer that Rantidev says. And tomorrow we will continue. Suvarnangi Mataji and Narsimhalila Chaitanya Prabhu will read. Spurti and Suhrit finished reading. Light, Isha. Isha. Okay. So then let's read Bhagavad Gita and Lilamrita. We are reading from Srimad Bhagavad Gita as it is, chapter 1, text 41. Please repeat. Sankaro narakayaiva kulagnanam kulasya cha patanti pitaro hyesham luptapindodakakriyah. An increase of unwanted population certainly causes hellish life, both for the family and for those who destroy the family tradition. The ancestors of such corrupt families fall down because the performances for offering them food and water are entirely stopped. Yes. So yesterday we saw Adharmabhi Bhavat Krishna Pradushyanti Kulastriyah. So when there is, first of all, when this is Arjun's reasoning why he should not fight. When you kill the elder members, then there is no one to teach dharma in the family. And when there is no dharma, adharma will prevail. There won't be any religious practices. There will be adharma. When there is adharma, who is the first class that will be affected? The women class. They will become polluted. They will be misled into adultery. And then the result of that is there will be bad population. The children born from such ladies who are misled into adultery, such children will be Varna Sankara, or bad population. So what happens when the society is filled by Varna Sankara? It is filled with bad population. That is said in this verse. An increase of unwanted population certainly causes hellish life. So the society here, the family in which such Varna Sankaras are born, that family will suffer in this life. Yes, family will suffer. Not only in this life, but for producing such children, they will have to go to hell. After this life also, they will suffer. And the reason for this situation is someone killing the elder members. So those who kill the elder members of the family, they will also go to hell. Not only the family members, but people who caused this situation, they will also go to hell. That means if I kill in this battle elder members like Bhishmadev and Dronacharya, then I will go to hell. And the family members will go to hell. And in this society, there will be only Varna Sankara. The whole society will also be spoiled. All this is simply because I will fight and kill my enemies. So best is if I don't fight. That's Arjun's reasoning. So now we'll read. An increase of unwanted population certainly causes hellish life both for the family and for those who destroy the family tradition. Hellish life. The ancestors of such corrupt families fall down. So not just the current family members are suffering and they will go to hell in future, but those who are already dead, the ancestors, up until now they are living peacefully, nicely in Pitralokas, because there is dharma in the family. They perform shraddha on regular basis. they're providing food for them, and they're doing, religious activities. By that, the ancestors are also maintained nicely in the Pitralokas. But when the family members become irreligious, the ancestors, those who are dead and gone before, now they will also fall from that Pitraloka situation to hell. They will also go to hell because nobody is offering them food and water. That means he's saying it's unbeneficial for everyone. The ancestors of such corrupt families fall down because the performances for offering them food and water are entirely stopped. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. According to the rules and regulations of fruitive activities, Karmakanda, there is a need to offer periodical food and water to the forefathers of the family, isn't it? Shraddha is performed, and you offer this offer to the ancestors. What do you call that? Shraddha only, right? Every year you offer. When you offer to the forefathers, food,
Pinda.
pinda. In a certain month, they do that, right? Pinda only?
Yes, ma'am.
Mataji,
Yes,
Pinda
Mataji.
Pradhanam.
Tarpan.
Tarpan.
They do tarpan.
Okay. So Tarpan, Pinda. Okay. So Shraddha. Yeah. So this is done periodically. Every year it is done. I think even every 6 months. So according to the rules and regulations of fruitive activities, Karmakanda, there is a need to offer periodical food and water to the forefathers of the family. This offering is performed by worship of Vishnu, because eating the remnants of food offered to Vishnu can deliver one from all kinds of sinful reactions. Sometimes the forefathers may be suffering from various types of sinful reactions, and sometimes some of them cannot even acquire a gross material body, right? They can be in a ghostly body, they are not able to get a body because of their sins sometimes. So sometimes some of them cannot even acquire a gross material body and are forced to remain in subtle bodies as ghosts. Thus, when remnants of prasadam food are offered to forefathers by descendants, the forefathers are released from ghostly or other kinds of miserable life. Such help rendered to forefathers is a family tradition. This help, right, this pinda or tarpan or shraddha which is offered in families, this is actually a tradition. And by this tradition, the forefathers are helped. And those who are not in devotional line, pay attention. And when you say not in devotional line means, now again, devotional life means you have to understand what is devotional life. Ananya bhakti you should do. So those who are not in devotional life are required to perform such rituals, of course. Now I'm not saying that you should do all the rituals the way they are done in karma kanda section, not like that. Our acharyas have given a simplified version of karma that aspiring devotees should do. Okay, so ultimately it depends on now who. Pure devotee means one who has full faith in Krishna, right? And full faith will reflect, that means he is not afraid that uh, he's not thinking that, oh, I will be relieved from all reactions. That's also possible, but he is willing to take anything, like mare Krishna rakhe Krishna mare ke. If I'm suffering, then he will accept it. Tattenu kampa susamikshamana Gunjana evadma kritam vipakam. Whatever suffering, very severe suffering he gets, he'll think, I deserve this. He's not thinking that, oh, I have to go through this suffering, so let me do this, this karma, so that I won't get a reaction to this. He's not thinking like that. You understand? So he has full faith in Krishna. He will do only bhakti. He won't do anything other than bhakti. And if by not doing this, if I have to suffer, I don't mind, I'll suffer. But I can't do anything other than direct bhakti to Krishna. This is his consciousness. This is full faith. Full faith means not that, oh, because I'm doing bhakti now, I won't suffer. That may or may not be, he doesn't care. His thinking is not that, will I be saved from going to hell if I do bhakti? He doesn't think like that. He doesn't calculate like that. He cannot do anything other than bhakti. That's all he will do. He got that type of shraddha and bhakti that he will do only bhakti 24/7. And even that bhakti he will do not so that I will get liberation, I will become free, I will go back to Godhead. That's not why he does bhakti. He does that to please Krishna only. If it pleases Krishna, I am ready to go to hell. Eternally, like Rantidev is saying, or Vasudev Datta is saying, or Prahlad Maharaj is praying. That's a pure devotee. So for such a devotee, there's no need to do any shraddha, there's no need to do any karma, nothing is required. He doesn't have to do. But if you don't have that type of shraddha, if you're not in devotional line like that, then for us, we are neither in this nor in that. Hopefully, we are not like total outright karmis that, we have to do all the karma kanda, because we want to be pure devotees. We have already embarked on the path of, that is our aspiration. We want to be there. We want to be pure unalloyed devotees. But we are not there yet. We still have our conditionings and our desires, attachments. So for us, Srila Sanatan Goswami, Srila Gopal Bhatta Goswami have chalked out a path. What is that? They've given simplified version of karma, samskaras, like Vivaha Samskara, for example. In your families, when there is wedding, how elaborate it is, and you've seen devotee weddings. It's not so elaborate. But nevertheless, there is a samskara for wedding, isn't it? Which we do in the devotees style. We are chanting Mangala Charana, we are chanting Hare Krishna, like that. Simple. In a couple of hours, the whole ceremony is over. So simplified version of samskaras are given. But you have to do. But if someone is a pure devotee, he doesn't even have to do these samskaras, not required. But if you're not a pure devotee yet, you have to do. But what you have to do, how much you have to do, that is again given by our acharyas. That's given by our acharyas. So like Vivaha Samskara, there's also Shraddha Samskara, and there are other samskaras. So we follow them. Of course, Srila Prabhupada introduced these things according to time, place, and circumstance. Especially in the West. Also, you should see the way Srila Prabhupada trained the devotees. He engaged them 24/7. He sent them out on book distribution. It didn't matter whether you are, man or woman or whoever. Everyone went out on book distribution. They lived simple. They were completely dedicated. You can call them on Pure Devotional platform. Now, can we say the same thing? Is it applicable to us? Did you have devotees that were working outside at that time? No, they dropped everything, and whatever money they had, they turned everything in. They didn't have any bank accounts, they didn't have their money, nothing. That's surrender. They just surrendered everything to the spiritual master. They surrendered their lives to Srila Prabhupada. What is our situation today? Can we apply the same things what were said for the devotees at that time? We should apply. That means we should also live like them with that type of surrender. Okay, we may have our houses or whatever and our jobs, but in our hearts, nothing is mine. Everything should be used like Rantidev. He's giving everything, whatever he had. Even though he's earning, there were some devotees actually, even then, like Brahmananda Prabhu and also Jayananda Prabhu. They were working, but whatever they were working, whatever they were earning, everything, the whole paycheck goes to the temple. Nothing for them. And then they beg. If they need something, they have to go and beg. Although they're working all day, 8 hours a day, do a job and give all the money to the temple. And if you need something, right, you have to go and beg. This is surrender. And then Srila Prabhupada says, anyone who is in devotional line, he's not required to follow all this. Yes, if we can live like that, that is glorious, and that is what is actually expected of us. If we live like that, there's no need to follow. There's no need to follow. If you have that type of faith, that type of surrender, dependence on Krishna, on the spiritual master, nothing, you don't keep anything for yourself. Everything you've given, and not just your money, you've given your whole, all their time, all their energy from morning until night. They left their kids in gurukuls and they were completely surrendered to Krishna. They were just working like that. And then for them, they don't do this samskara, that samskara, and all that. No need. So, pure devotional service means 24/7 devotional service, complete surrender to Krishna. Sarva dharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja. Of course, we cannot artificially imitate this. It's not that overnight we hear now and then immediately, okay, now I surrender fully to Krishna. That surrender comes when we get the mercy. I mean, that surrender is a symptom of full faith, and that full faith will come by associating with those devotees who have that full faith and by receiving the mercy of such devotees. So for us, Srila Prabhupada has given us his books, he's given us the method, right? He said chant at least 16 rounds, and he said go and, preach this Krishna consciousness, distribute books, spread this Krishna consciousness movement around, like that. So the extent to which we are serving Srila Prabhupada, we are endeavoring, to that extent we become recipients of his mercy, and in proportion to that mercy we will also get that type of full faith and surrender. And when you get that surrender and full faith, then you enter into pure devotional service. And how do you know if someone is in pure devotional service or not? By the symptoms. By the symptoms, So, going back to our purport, Srila Prabhupada is saying about this Shraddha and Tarpan. Such help rendered to forefathers is a family tradition, and those who are not in devotional life are required to perform such rituals. Those who are not in devotional life are required to perform such rituals. So when you say those who are not in devotional life, you have to be clear about what is devotional life. That's why I explained all this. Devotional life means pure devotional service. One who is engaged in the devotional life is not required to perform such actions. And being engaged in devotional life doesn't simply mean that I have taken initiation, I chant 16 rounds a day, so I don't need to follow any of this. No. Engaged in devotional life means I don't possess anything, nothing is mine, everything belongs to Krishna. My wealth, my skills, my body, my family, nothing is mine, everything is Krishna's, and everything is meant for Krishna's service, for Krishna's pleasure. That type of consciousness, if we have, yes, no need to perform such actions. You're not required. So now, what does that mean? Does that mean I'm encouraging that everyone should perform these? What do you get out of this? That everyone should go and perform all these karmas? Is that what I'm saying? No. What I'm saying is everyone should endeavor for pure devotional service. That's what I'm saying. Don't take it that I'm already in devotional service, so I'm not required. I'm free from all these obligations. You will become free from those obligations when you are a pure devotee. So endeavor for pure devotional service. How can we endeavor for pure devotional service? Use everything you have, your time, your speech, your skills, your wealth, your influence. Use everything in Krishna's service and increase it. If you are doing 10% today, you increase it to 15%, 20%, 50, 75, like that. Try to come to 100%, like that. So don't just be satisfied that, oh, because even though Srila Prabhupada said you chant 16 rounds, you look at how he engaged the devotees in the rest of the time. They were so busily engaged in preaching Krishna consciousness, they wouldn't get time to chant their 16 rounds during the day. They would stay up in the night to chant, or they would rise. You talk to the devotees in the early days. They would get up at 1 in the morning. Get up at 1 in the morning or 2 in the morning. Take their bath. Chant all 16 rounds before Mangalarti. Nobody skips Mangalarti. Everyone attended Mangalarti. And after Mangalarti, they start their services. And they would chant more also, not just 16. They would chant more than 16. 16 was a minimum. His Holiness Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj said he was chanting 42 or 46 every day for many years. For many, many years. There was not one day when he didn't complete his rounds. He didn't miss chanting his rounds even one day. And he would sleep like 2 or 3 hours for many, many years. Only 2-3 hours he would sleep. And what was he doing all day? He was doing this book distribution. He would go to universities and place the entire sets of Srila Prabhupada's books in the libraries. So first of all, he had to go and introduce himself, introduce the books, the mission, and then convince them to take the books. And he would go before anyone, he would be the first person to enter campus. And he was doing this in the European countries, Eastern European countries, where there is iron curtain, right, where you're not allowed to preach about religion. So he would go there and he would preach all day. And he was staying in a cave on a mountain somewhere. He didn't have an apartment or a hotel room or anything. He was staying in a cave. And his diet, who's going to cook there? He would eat some dates or nuts. That's it. He was Ghanashyam in those days. His name was Ghanashyam. He was not a sannyasi. Srila Prabhupada was so pleased with him. He actually embraced His Holiness Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj, was Ghanashyam at that time. So that was the standard, right? So they were busy all day in direct devotional service, in spreading this Krishna consciousness movement. So, and For such devotees, of course, there's no need to follow. There's no need to follow any of this. And we got Krishna consciousness, we got introduced to this by their efforts. So we should not take it very lightly or cheaply, or like a, like a, what do you say, like a hobby kind of a thing, something which you do on the side, right? My main life and my goal in life is I have all these material ambitions and goals set for myself and for my family, and devotional life is on the side. Not like that. We owe a debt to all these devotees who struggle so hard and set the platform for us. So we also have to offer back. When we receive so much, we have to offer something in return. So that's why my point is, don't take this line very cheaply. One who is engaged in the devotional life is not required to perform such actions. Yes, who's actually engaged like that, he is not required to perform such actions. But if he's not engaged like this, you are liable. You will get a reaction if you don't do these activities. So one who is, and Srila Prabhupada always preached only pure devotional service 24/7. Chanting 16 rounds is the beginning. Srila Prabhupada said at least 16 rounds. Chant at least 16 rounds. Because we cannot chant 24 hours initially. So he said chant at least 16 rounds and the rest of the day engage in devotional service. Cooking, cleaning, worshipping, printing, book distribution, isn't it? Educating, gurukulas, teaching children. But you're engaged throughout the day in devotional service. So one who is engaged in devotional life is not required to perform such actions. Simply by performing devotional service, one can deliver hundreds and thousands of forefathers from all kinds of misery. It is stated in the Bhagavatam 11.5.41. Devarshi bhutaptanrinam pitrinam na kinkaro nayam rini charajan sarvatmana yah sharanam sharanyam gato mukundam parihritya kartam. Anyone who has taken shelter of the lotus feet of Mukunda, the giver of liberation, giving up all kinds of obligation. Pay very close attention to this. That means no other dependence on your karma or jnana or anything. They've given up all kinds of obligation. This duty, that duty. Sarva dharman parityajya. That is what this line means. My only dharma is to serve Krishna. Anyone who has taken shelter of the lotus feet of Mukunda, the giver of liberation, giving up all kinds of obligation, and has taken to the path in all seriousness. Taken to the path in all seriousness means what? Taken to the path is Anukulyana Krishnanushilanam. In all seriousness means you're not doing anything else. Right? Anyabhilashita shunyam jnana karmadhyanavritam. Anukulyana Krishnanushilanam. They have given up all other obligations and they have taken to the path in all seriousness. Owes neither duties nor obligations to the demigods, to the sages, general living entities, family members, humankind, or forefathers. You have no debt to anyone. If you become a pure devotee, you don't have any debt to anyone. Otherwise, anyone who takes birth in this, especially as a human being, he has all these debts. He has debts to demigods, he has debts to his dynasty, his family members, forefathers, to all living entities. We get fruit from trees, we take help from cows and oxen. So we are dependent. So we have debt to all living entities. We have debt to demigods. They give us rain, they give us water, oxygen, light. We are indebted to the sages. They have given us the scriptures, they have given their writings. and to our immediate family members and to the forefathers. This debt is there. If you become a pure devotee, you are free from all these debts. If you are not a pure devotee, you have this debt. Such obligations are automatically fulfilled by performance of devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So the message here is, by one shot. What is that one shot? By becoming a pure devotee of Krishna, then you become released from all debts. And if you don't become Krishna conscious, you don't become a pure devotee of Krishna, you have all these debts. You have all these debts. So take this devotional life very, very seriously. Srila Prabhupada's Leelamrita. Prabhupada held his evening meetings on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, just as he had uptown. The loft was out of the way for most of his acquaintances, and it was on the Bowery, right? So not many people could come there. A cluster of sleeping derelicts regularly blocked the street level entrance, and visitors would find as many as half a dozen bums to step over before climbing the 4 flights of stairs. But it was something new. You could go and sit with a group of hip people and watch the Swami lead kirtan. The room was dimly lit, and Prabhupada would burn incense. Many casual visitors came and went. One of them, Ganthar, had vivid impressions. Ganthar. You walked right off the Bowery into a room filled with incense. It was quiet. Everyone was talking in hushed tones, not really talking at all. Swamiji was sitting in the front of the room and in meditation. There was a tremendous feeling of peace which I have never had before. I'd happened to have studied for 2 years to become a minister in Christianity, right? And was into meditation, study, and prayer. But this was my first time to do anything Eastern or Hindu. There were lots of pillows around and mats on the floor for people to sit on. I don't think there were any pictures or statues. It was just Swamiji, incense, and mats. And obviously the respect of the people in the room for him. Before we went up, Carl was laughing and saying how Swami wanted everyone to use the hand symbols just correctly, kartals. I had never played the symbols before, but when it began, I just tried to follow Swamiji, who was doing it in a certain way. Things were building up, the sound was building up, but then someone was doing it wrong. And Swamiji just very, very calmly shook a finger at someone and they looked, and then everything stopped. He instructed this person from a distance, and this fellow got the right idea, and they started up again. After a few minutes, the sound of the cymbals and the incense, we weren't in the Bowery any longer. We started chanting Hare Krishna. That was my first experience in chanting. I'd never chanted before. There's nothing in Protestant religion that comes even close to that. Maybe Catholics with their Hail Marys, but it's not quite the same thing. It was relaxing and very interesting to be able to chant, and I found Swamiji very fascinating. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. So we will stop here. Again, thank you so much for staying longer. Hare Krishna. So tomorrow, Narsimha Leela Chaitanya Prabhu and Suvarnangi Mataji will begin reading. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. All of you have a wonderful day in Krishna consciousness. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.